Okay, let's talk about the new Siege Assault box set. So this one was very kindly sent to me by Underworld Gaming here in Dublin, the kind of premium independent hobbyist. If you want to check them out, I'll leave links below to them. Absolutely incredible place. So they sent me this box set out and I've been going through it, and I'm obviously focusing a little bit more on the Horse Heresy this year than I ever have before. My plan is to have 3,000 points of Heresy Imperial Fist painted by the end of the year, probably by the end of the first 6 months, because I want to start playing a serious amount of games with them. I've already played one game of the kind of like newer edition. I really enjoyed that and I'm ready to jump in with 2 feet. I already own more than enough miniatures, but when a set like this comes across my desk, I have to dive in and get some bits and pieces, especially for things like the breaching Marines. Imperial Fists, all about breaching, boarding ships and trying to take them over and stuff like that. So I was very excited for that. Can never turn down an extra Leviathan, but it's the Cataphractii where I took a little bit of a pause and I wasn't sure, and I'm still not quite sure whether or not I like the new sculpts of them. The old Cataphractii were my favorite type of Terminator that existed. I loved the kind of Baroque, like segmented shoulder plates, how chunky they looked. They're real like horrid war machines, like they were awesome. And then they brought out these new ones and it's like they've been on the Atkins diet or something, and they've got the big broad shoulders and then the tiniest little itty bitty waists. I can't fathom why they have thinner waists than a power armored Marine has. I do not get it. But what has happened to me before is that I would not like something and then I would build and paint something and then I would really like it. So things would pop out at me or I would enjoy the experience. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away, I'm going to get one of these miniatures built up, I'm going to get it fully painted in my Imperial Fist scheme, and then I'm going to come back to you at the end of the video and tell you my thoughts and feelings at the end. So maybe we'll have changed my mind, but I'd also love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the new Cataphractii. If you really like the change, I want to know why. If you don't like the new change, I also want to know why. I don't want to just hear their shit or anything like that. That's a bit of a waste of time. But yeah, if you've got any kind of constructive things to throw in the comments, please do share that. Now, also before I get into the video, just a huge thank you to all of my supporters out there, whether it's people who are just watching the videos, whether you're bothering to give the videos a like, whether you're commenting, or whether you're subscribed. Those things cost you absolutely nothing, but they make a huge difference in how many people see the videos and how quickly the channel grows. So for me, if you could go down there, like, comment, subscribe, thank you so much. That'd be great. And if you want to take it a step further, you can of course check out the Patreon. Also linked down below. There's a whole host of reasons to be involved in that. Extra videos every single week. There's just extra content like the podcast. There's giveaways every single month. There's just loads of awesome reasons to be involved. This month we're giving away the start of a Grey Knights army. So if you are interested in getting started with Grey Knights, we're giving away 10 Grey Knight Terminators and 10 Grey Knights in power armor to one lucky patron. And all you need to do to be in a chance of winning is subscribe to any tier. So yeah, check that out. Okay, we've yabbered enough. Let's dive in and get this miniature painted up. Okay, so this is said Cataphractii Terminator. Now, before I get into this, I am going to say that I am a little bit under the weather. So if you do forgive my gravelly voice, I will try to be as smooth as possible, but I'm sure it will crack here and there. Just ignore it. It's totally fine. So obviously the model has been put on a nice little scenic base, maybe to kind of bump up his height a little bit. All my Imperial Fists for the Heresy are getting put on these awesome bases, so it helps with his height. And obviously, as I'm going through the motions of painting this guy through this video, I am enjoying the process. It's quite a fun model to paint, and I am actually enjoying the results. But when I get to the end and I start comparing him to other miniatures, that's where the problems inherently lie, and we will get to that when we get to it. So the model was sprayed with a nice coat of Wraithbone, and then we actually went back in with a brush and some Wraithbone to smooth out those panels where the yellow is going to go and make sure it's going to look really nice. There's no kind of bits missed, because then after that we go in with this Imperial Fist contrast and we apply this as smooth as possible to all of the armor panels that you need to be yellow. It's not a very time consuming thing. It's quite fast. I actually have 2 different ways of painting Imperial Fists, and at the end of the video you will see them kind of side by side as I use another model as a comparison piece. For 40k, I spend a lot of time and effort painting my Imperial Fists. It takes many hours per miniature, but because they are my favorite army, my favorite legion, I'm happy to spend that time. Where it goes to wanting kind of 3,000 to 5,000 points of Heresy Imperial Fists, I'm going with a much quicker way of painting, because I literally would never get them done if I tried to do them with that kind of level of detail. So this is my fast way of painting Imperial Fist to a standard that I'm happy with. For kind of late Heresy era Imperial Fists, means they're all just a bit dinged. They're all the defenders of the Imperium, the defenders of the Imperial Palace, so they're allowed to be a little bit scuffed and a little bit not polished looking. So yeah. So obviously we did the Imperial Fist yellow, and then we went back over with a very light dry brush of Wraithbone again, just to catch those edges. It acts as a kind of a semi-edge highlight for the yellow armor, and helps just to make it pop a little bit more. But we're going to be doing some more work with that later on, so don't worry. After this, usually I would go with Black Templar, but I went with Black Legion this time. Would I go with Black Templar again? I don't know. It's a him and haw for that one. But just any of the other bits, the kind of different armor panels, the secondary shoulder pads I did in black. Basically, in my head, these guys are part of Sigismund's company. Therefore, they will have a little bit more black armor to them, and they will have some kind of Black Templary crosses on the armor at the end. A bit of lead belcher was used for some of the other armor panels, some of the trim, obviously the blade of the sword, the rest of his awesome combi bolter, sorry, storm bolter. No, it's a combi bolter. Retributor armor gold just for the crossguard and hilt of the sword. In the 41st millennium, things have a lot more kind of pump. So like a suit of Terminator is this revered piece of war gear. It's like ancient, it's a relic. In the Heresy, it's just another suit of armor. It's not special. They can still make more suits of it. So there's not as much like filigree and crazy detail and stuff. It's just a utilitarian piece of equipment. This objective needs to be taken. The best models to do that are guys in Terminator armor. Cool, send some Terminator squads. Simple as. So only the crossguard, the sword, has any gold to it, where in 40k this guy would be festooned with gold. Now we're going to shade the model down, and with this we are using the Marine Juice recipe. I've talked about this in a bunch of different videos before, so if you want to go back and find out how I make it, I do show that off in one of the videos. I think it was the Saturnine Terminator video where I show how I make it. But it's just a mix of 3 different paints, including one of them's an army painter paint. But it does leave a really nice result. It's great over all different armor types. You just have to control it, make sure that there's no kind of blotches. I did kind of miss those thigh extra armor plate there, so when it dries, there's just that little bit of a smudge that's been annoying me. So I could have been a little bit more careful with controlling that, but, you know, we live and learn. Some Army Painter Dark Tone was then used for filling in any of the recesses and gaps, anywhere you want the shadow to be a little bit more pronounced in between these kind of segmented armor plates on the thing, on his leg, sorry. And then I wanted to darken down the metallics as well, so the silver got hit with a coat of Dark Tone again, and that just kind of looks really nice. With that, now we are going in with Wraithbone. This is the most time-consuming step of this particular painting guide, and we're going to edge highlight Wraithbone across all of the armor panels, all of those like sharp corners, and that will just help to really make the models pop. And that's all you need to do. It doesn't take an awful amount of time, but it's obviously the longest part of painting this guy up. But it's necessary to make it look really nice. Okay, to make the black look really nice, we're going to go for Corvus Black, and we're going to layer up all those different areas. Corvus Black is one of the most underrated paints that Games Workshop do. It's black with just a touch of grey to it, and I use it to highlight all of the things that I need to with black. It doesn't make the model look grey, or doesn't make those black parts look grey, but they stand out and look highlighted and look layered and look really nice. So if you don't have one of these in your paint arsenal, I suggest you go out and get one and try it out. I don't think you will be disappointed by what you get. We of course then have to add a bunch of transfers to this miniature at some point soon, so I did pull out my Horus Heresy transfer sheet and I kind of decided which ones. There's no real clear place to put one like front on. There's not enough space around like the chest armor to do anything crazy, and when they're on the top of the shoulder pads you don't really see them because they're so flat on top, but we made it work. Imperial Fist shoulder pad on the left, and obviously the chapter number 7 on the right, the Black Templar chevron on the shin, and then I actually did put another one on his ribs, which you can barely see, but hopefully it'll make it pop. A bit of extra detail was then put on things like eye lenses and glowing bits and stuff like that, and we are left with our finished Cataphractii Terminator for my Imperial Fist army. Like I said, I got to this point and I was like, I really like this. I think it looks really, really cool. Maybe I've changed my entire mind on how this model looks. And then I started to take some photographs of it and I was like, okay, this looks pretty cool. And then I started putting it next to other models, and suddenly it just became weedy and small again. it just needs to be like 30% bigger, a big stompy thing. Here it is next to a Saturnine, and then here it is next to a 40k one, so you can see the difference. I think it should be about that bulky, so I'm not really sure what to say. Okay, it's been a couple of hours. I now have a Cataphractii Terminator painted up and ready to go. And the finished result is quite nice. I do enjoy this miniature. I am excited to get the other 11 guys painted up in this box set. You do get 2 units of 6, not 2 units of 5 like I thought. I don't know why these Terminators are coming in 6s, but you know, why complain when you're getting extra models? I'm still not sure whether I like it more than the old ones or not. I genuinely don't, but I do like what I have done. I like the base, adding that extra bit of height. Yeah, I think he's really cool. I'm pleased with the result of the model. I wouldn't turn my nose up to these guys. I will not be turning my nose up to these models. Yeah, that I've kind of like half changed my mind on them. So, like I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you're excited to see what else I do with my Imperial Fist Legion in the next couple of months. I've got so many things to build and paint, but I'm very excited to get stuck into that. And I'll also share along with any games that I play, let you know how they went, good or bad, and we'll take it from there. So thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed yourself. I'll see you in the next one.